So as we come together this morning, we are grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with our Unity community. We welcome those people who are online with us today and those who may watch later. And in January, our power for this month is faith, which is the ability to believe, intuit, and perceive. And faith is located in the center of the brain, sort of like if you put your finger on top of your head and then your finger in your ear, it's right in the center, right in the center there. And today we affirm faith blesses my day and paves my way. So our vision at Unity of London is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. So that just isn't where we are right now, where transformation is taking place. It is at our neighbor's house, it is in our city, our town, our country, and indeed the world. And right now, we may feel that spiritual awakening is exactly what is required in our world. Our mission is co-creating with spirit to transform lives through shared spiritual awakening. So just what does that mean to you personally, to transform lives through shared spiritual awakening? As you feel more spiritually awakened, maybe you treat the people in your life a little bit differently. Maybe you are happier. We trust, we have faith that you are happier, that you are more centered, and that is the energy that you are projecting into the world. And so you may be more loving towards the people, as I mentioned, that are your neighbors or your friends or people in the grocery store, wherever. You can transform your lives by promoting self-expression. So maybe just being open about what you feel, and also by living what we believe, we can transform lives. Knowing that action is what is required. So if we feel transformed in our lives, maybe there's an opportunity that we have to share, be of service somewhere in our community, and also by inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world, and by providing fellowship and education for spiritual seekers of all walks of life. So this is what we do at Unity of London, and what we have faith that you too are doing in your life. So today we do have breakout rooms for prayer, and after the service, Dawn will be willing to provide one-on-one prayer with anyone who might need it. So is there anyone right now, if you'd like to just put up your hand, if anybody would like prayer? Okay, I don't see anyone. Or at the bottom of your screen, there is a chat. So if you would like prayer at the end of the service, then you can actually send a message to Dawn or to Larry at Unity of London to do that prayer. So last week, Pauline Duncan Thrasher started her first week of her online course, A Closer Walk with God. So tomorrow is the second class. And if any of you are interested and for some reason could not make last week's class, please join in this week's class. So A Closer Walk with God will enable you to enrich your prayer lives and deepen your intimacy with the divine presence, God. The now 4-week course is non-credit, and you can sign up by contacting Pauline for either a Monday afternoon from 1 to 3 or Monday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. Love offerings are welcome and can be transferred to our Unity of London email. And the book which Pauline will tell you more about, can be purchased via Amazon. So we encourage you to, if you're looking for just something else, a little more fellowship and just being closer to God, please contact Pauline. Thanks, Pauline, for doing that course. All right, so let's just go into prayer right now. So if you could just become more comfortable in your seats, close your eyes if you wish. Just become centered and quiet. And as we go into prayer, we bless everyone attending all spiritual gatherings, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. We bless all those watching online and all those at home who are using this day to take care of themselves or their families. We bless the 4 hostages in the Texas synagogue who are now safe. We also bless their captor who has transitioned, praying that he now has found peace. We lift up anyone who is experiencing any challenges. We have faith that the highest and best is unfolding for them and that the love of the divine spirit is surrounding them right now. We take this opportunity to hold anyone that you wish in blessings and prayer and to speak their names quietly into this space. We bless our fellow Unity organizations, Unity of York Region and Unity of Ottawa, and the Unity movement worldwide. And so as we move forth into this day, we understand and affirm that I am one with all that is, and so it is, and so we let it be. And so too, just before I asked Peggy to take over, I'd just like to welcome Jamie and also Jada, who are people that I'm not familiar with either. So welcome to our service today. And so now, Peggy Matzer is going to read from today's daily word.
Today's daily word is rise. I rise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. Throughout time, there have been people who have led lives that changed the world forever. Their words and deeds provided hope and inspiration for those who would carry forth their legacies of love, growth, and evolution long after they left this life. Their most powerful contribution, however, was their ability to inspire others to express their own divine purpose. As more and more people reach their highest potential, the whole of humanity ascends. Today, I honor those who have led lives of service, striving for love, truth, and justice. I take steps, not just to commemorate their journeys and contributions, but to embark upon my own. I rise, grateful to contribute all I can to the growth and evolution of humankind. From Ezra 10:4, take action, for it is your duty, and we are with you. Be strong and do it. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Tony Orvidas. Tony is a lifelong student and teacher of spirituality, metaphysics, and abundance manifestation, an experienced mentor, speaker, and trainer, and author of Using the Law of Attraction. He's been an active member of Unity of London since 2012 and a frequent and much appreciated speaker at our Sunday services. Please join me in welcoming Tony Orvidas.
Thank you, Peggy. Alrighty. Title of my message today, Reincarnation? You're kidding. Let's start off by going to the Center of Reincarnational Studies. I just have to find the little, there we go. Today, you'll learn a bit about reincarnation, what it is, what it isn't, why it's not part of most Christian scriptures and traditions, and whether spiritual leaders consider it fact or fiction. I was also planning to share with you the unity perspective on the subject, but there was so much material that I've saved it for another time. For my message next month, hope you're not disappointed. Today, I'll merely whet your appetite for more. So let's consider the dictionary definition of reincarnation. Here we go. It's the rebirth of the aspect of an individual that persists after bodily death, whether it be consciousness, the mind, the soul, or some other entity, into one or more successive existences. To believe in reincarnation is to believe that the soul is reborn in other human bodies, that it is immortal, and that the only thing that becomes perishable is the body. Now, I will, on purpose, not be using the terms transmigration or metempsychosis in my message, since they generally refer to passing at death of the soul of a human being or animal into a new body of the same or different species. In other words, a human potentially reincarnating as a leopard or another creature, or vice versa. By the way, it's a tenet of some Asian religions, was also accepted by the followers of Pythagoras in Greece during the 6th century BC, and it's still common today in some tribal religions, such as that of the South African Venda. I'll be strictly speaking about humans reincarnating into other human bodies. And I won't be talking about resurrection, in which a soul comes back to life in the same body. Think Lazarus. Now, the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth seems to actually be more of a reincarnation. Let me explain. The body to which Jesus returned was apparently not recognized by his followers as being the Jesus they knew, right? Anyway, the metaphysical meaning of reincarnation, as noted in Truth Unity, reads as follows. When a soul leaves the body, it rests for a season. Then the innate desire for material expression asserts itself, and the ego seeks the primal cell and builds another body. We further read that reincarnation is not a part of the divine plan and does not lift man out of mortal limitations. It is not an aid to spiritual growth, but merely a makeshift until full truth is discerned. Interesting, eh? What did you think the first time you heard about reincarnation? Did you, like me, think it was pure horse crunch? You see, I was a good little Roman Catholic, well indoctrinated by the nuns and the priests and my parents. There was no reincarnation. There was heaven, hell, purgatory, and back then, limbo. And if I was lucky and played my cards right, I would spend a minimal amount of time in purgatory, paying for my sins, and then eventually head off to heaven, where I would reside for eternity, sitting on a cloud with saints and angels, listening to celestial choirs, playing a harp, or maybe in my case, a guitar. But I digress. My understanding is that some of the greatest minds of all time believed in and wrote about reincarnation. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Walt Whitman, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich Nietzsche, Dalai Lama, Carl Jung, Leo Tolstoy, Dr. Wayne Dyer, to name just a few. Henry Ford attributed his wealth and success to his adoption of the theory of reincarnation when he was 26. By the way, and you might find this interesting, the carn in reincarnation is the same as the carn in chili con carne and carnivore. That is to say, being incarnated is to be made out of meat. Now, in the way of mastery, a book study in which some of us from Unity are participating. Yeshua, or Jesus, who is channeled by Jam, speaks about experiencing a multitude of other lifetimes. Abraham Hicks tells us we are eternal beings who have been playing in this physical realm for a long time, that we are not new to this current earthly experience. In book 3 of Conversations with God, when Neil Donald Walsh, the author, asks God if reincarnation is a false doctrine, God replies that it is not. He says, reincarnation is a fact, is real, purposeful, and perfect. But, and this is a heavy but, all lifetimes are occurring at the same time because space and time are a human construct. And your higher self is composed of numerous individual yous or personalities. Mike Dooley explains further in his book, The Top 10 Things Dead People Want to Tell You. Consider perhaps that maybe one's personality is like a leaf on a soul tree from which other leafy incarnations grow. And consider perhaps that since time is an illusion, all leaves play out simultaneously, even though they also belong to different time eras. So there is something like reincarnation going on, but it's not just a linear progression of consciousness. Instead, each incarnation maintains its own perspectives while simultaneously adding to the others. And then Seth, channeled by Jane Roberts, says, you live many lives simultaneously. You often think of these as reincarnational existences, one before the other. But everything in the universe exists at one time. There is no beginning. There is no past, present, or future. They only appear to those who exists within three-dimensional reality. That means us, you and me. Indeed, we speak of past lives because you are used to the time sequence concept. The whole self is aware of all of the experiences of all its egos and are formed by one identity. Quite simply, we live as many physical existences as we feel we must in order to develop our abilities and prepare ourselves to enter other dimensions of reality. Now, ain't that something? What do you think? Does it make sense? Well, reincarnation is a central tenet of many religions, such as Buddhism, most Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism, paganism. In various forms, it occurs as an esoteric belief in many streams of Judaism. Now, the majority of denominations within Christianity and Islam do not believe in reincarnation. Some groups connected to these religions, however, do refer to reincarnation, and they include the adherents of the Alawite and Druze religions, as well as the Rosicrucian order, and Unity to some degree, but more on that another time. The early Christian church denounced the doctrine of reincarnation as heretical, and then it created the sacrament of confession. You see, confession could create for the churchgoer what reincarnation had promised, another chance, a do-over, but in this and not another lifetime. And the church also came up with purgatory, absolution, penance, novena candles, indulgences, but those are human constructs, not divine. As the story goes, it was 367 AD that the church father, Athanasius, designated 66 books that together form the Christian biblical canons, the Bible, Old and New Testaments. These were, in essence, the only books included and recognized by Christian teachings. All other manuscripts were excluded, and much of that material, some of which referred to reincarnation, was thought lost, until the discovery of some crucial and important documents. The Nag Hammadi library found in Egypt, the Dead Sea Scrolls in Palestine, as well as other apocryphal writings, once considered to be part of the original Christian tradition. After studying these documents, many scholars confirm that Gnostic Christians believed in reincarnation. Now, is there any evidence of reincarnation in the Bible? Well, researcher Sean Murphy tells us that the Bible available to us today does not explain reincarnation in any great detail, but there are a number of rather obscure references to it. Looking at the many passages surrounding the second coming of Elijah, Sean gets the impression that reincarnation was a common belief at the time the Bible was written, based on all the comments about someone being born again and the longing for a prophet to come again. This might explain why there is not much detail on reincarnation in the scriptures, since one does not have to elaborate on concepts that are considered common knowledge at the time. For nearly 6 centuries, reincarnation was supposedly a core part of Christianity. The early Christian concept of the restoration of all things was established in the 3rd century through the wisdom of Origen of Alexandria. He was the most prolific Christian scholar of the time. Now, Origen taught that the soul pre-exists human life and that through the gift of reincarnation, all fallen souls would be saved and return to God. He rejected the concept that some people are destined for eternal suffering, thus fulfilling Jesus' promise that not one soul will be lost. His was the total opposite of the eternal damnation doctrine, which was established by the Roman Emperor Justinian in 543 AD. Now, Origen's teachings reflected the good news that Jesus taught. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn it, but that the world through him might be saved. Origen was declared a heretic by Justinian, who also made any belief in reincarnation anathema, something abhorrent, detested, repugnant. The Second Council of Constantinople in 553 AD ratified Justinian's earlier condemnation of Origen. So, we've established that early Christians believed in reincarnation. But this was not the modern Hindu version, but rather one governed by the laws supposedly laid down by Jesus of Nazareth. Under these laws, reincarnation looked like this. Your spiritual body, created by God in his image prior to the fall of Adam and Eve, is placed into the newborn fetus by the divine word. Locked in this material body, the spirit serves as your subconscious, your true heart, your conscience, your inner voice. The goal of this incarnation is to pay back the debt incurred in the fall, and to also pay back the debt incurred in previous lives on earth, somewhat like karma, without being consciously burdened with knowledge of past lives. Some call it the veil of forgetfulness at the time that you're born. The angels of God, according to this belief, apparently select the appropriate family and living conditions in which you are to grow up that will best provide the tests needed, accomplishing the goals set out for your new reincarnation. With this interesting belief, the early Christians did not fear their oppressors, like the Romans, for example. They knew that their next life on earth would be determined by how they felt and acted under the hand of their oppressors. You see, their oppressors would be reborn into conditions that would place them at the mercy of their fellow man. And these oppressors would likely suffer the same type of oppression that they had once themselves practiced. Now, this is what was meant by an eye for an eye. And the early Christians knew that God was the only perfect judge to administer this type of justice. Quite the history lesson, eh? Now, according to Unitarian author Jeremy Taylor, the Plains Indians and many others, such as Tibetan Buddhists, believe that when a person dies, she enters a dream. And once the dreaming soul makes the transition into the light, she experiences whatever specific forms of heaven or hell she's been prepared for and expects based on learnings in a life just ended. However pleasant these after-death experiences may be, and they're called bardo by the Buddhists, they are not eternal. And after about 40 earthly days, the dead person's soul loses its common detachment and reincarnates. The so-called laws of karma then come into effect. However, this karmic judgment is not actually handed down by any external authority like a god, but is instead accomplished unconsciously by the dreamer herself. Quite different from the early Christian beliefs, right? Now, this newly reincarnated life offers the opportunity to grow and develop spiritually. And it again provides the chance to realize that all the attractions and repulsions of life and afterlife are merely shadows, merely dreams. This cycle or wheel of life, suffering, death, rebirth, repeats endlessly until the soul achieves enlightenment, nirvana. Some who have achieved a higher calling become involved in a thing called willing sacrifice, where they voluntarily relinquish the bliss of nirvana and continue consciously to choose to reincarnate. And they do so for the specific purpose of easing the suffering of unenlightened beings that are still trapped in samsara, this illusory world of ours. These entities, and they're called Bodhisattvas, have chosen to reincarnate again and again until all sentient beings are eventually enlightened. Now, A Course in Miracles, specifically the Manual for Teachers, says something really quite different. In the ultimate sense, reincarnation is impossible. There is no past or future, and the idea of birth into a body has no meaning either once or many times. It cannot be too strongly emphasized that this Course in Miracles, aims at complete reversal of thought. When this is finally accomplished, issues such as the validity of reincarnation become meaningless. Does this mean that the teacher of God should not believe in reincarnation himself or discuss it with others who do? The answer is certainly not. If he does believe in reincarnation, it would be a mistake for him to denounce the belief, unless his internal teacher so advised. Clear as mud? A Rosicrucian acquaintance of mine told me years ago that each of our personalities is like a light bulb plugged into a small socket on a string of lights, accessing the current of life, the higher self. Once this bulb burns out, that is, once the individual dies or transitions, it can be replaced with another bulb. The bulb is different. It's a different personality, but the string and the current that flows through it remains the same. Looking at it differently, your current body is like an envelope. The letter, the piece of paper in this envelope, is the real, the spiritual you. And once the envelope, your body, is discarded, the letter, the piece of paper, returns to its source, to once again become a page in a manuscript in your higher self. And then parts of this manuscript, the individual pages, reincarnate into new envelopes. Confused yet? I certainly was, and I'm still shaking my head. So, as today's message comes to a close, let me share with you two neat quotes that will hopefully give you some further food for thought. The first is from Jane Roberts of Seth fame. Whether or not you understand or accept your reincarnational background, it is highly important to live a sane, balanced life in this life. We form our day-to-day reality. We form our past lives, and we form this one. And by solving problems now, we can make things vastly easier for our past and future selves. The second's from A Course in Miracles again. Reincarnation cannot be true in any real sense. Our only question should be, is the concept helpful? And that depends, of course, on what it's used for. If it is used to strengthen the recognition of the eternal nature of life, it is helpful indeed. You see, I believe in reincarnation because for me, it's helpful to do so. I've participated in a rebirthing experience, been involved in guided past life regressions, studied the concept a lot, and it makes sense to me. Admittedly, however, I'm still trying to get my head around the ideas of simultaneous lifetimes and conjoined personalities versus an autonomous individual, me. Maybe you are as well. So, in conclusion, I think I may have left you with more questions than provided you with answers, right? Is there or is there not reincarnation? What's it look like? Does it make any difference if you believe in it or not? Are we in unity supposed to believe in reincarnation? Let's see if in my next month's message, we can figure it out. With that, let's prepare for meditation. According to Joan Borisenko, the nature of the mind is to think, to create. So the mind naturally wanders during meditation. We all think when we meditate, don't we? What distinguishes the skillful meditator is the attitude of detached awareness that you can maintain towards thinking. Adopt a healthy attitude towards your wandering mind during meditation. Smile at its antics like a loving mother while you firmly bring it back to the object of concentration. If you resist the thoughts, they'll overpower you. But if you just step lightly out of their way and let them come and go like birds flying overhead, you can use your energy to further focus your mind. So, relax, get comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and then exhale. And then spend the next few minutes in quiet meditation. gradually come back to your world of illusions, to your reincarnated self. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, yes, thank you, Tony, for that well-researched and interesting talk. Yeah, lots to think about in that. Absolutely lots to think about. And I look forward to hearing about what Unity's take is on the whole idea of reincarnation.
Come, take a ride with me to paradise. Heaven's in your heart beating inside. You're alive, the great divine, older than time. You are loved, yes, you are loved, and the stars in our sky, billion-year-old lights light up the sky, and you can feel the universe through your heart, the divine design of you. The time has come for you to honor the miracle of you. And you are so beautiful, the way your body moves and holds it all. Your heart lights up hearts, and your love illuminates our world. Your soul is old, your soul is old, and the stars in our sky, billion-year-old lights light up the sky, and you can feel the universe through your heart, the divine design of you. The time has come for you to honor the miracle of you. Oh, the roads being long, and the heart is strong. Let your love lift you up, let your heart rocket you to honor the miracle of you.
All right. So today, we give thanks for those who continue to support Unity of London with their tithes, their offerings, their donations. And we express our appreciation for the benefits that we all enjoy from those donations. And we rejoice in our chance to share of our good to the source that feeds us. So the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yay, God. And so our peace song. All right, everyone. So does anyone have any comments or anything that they'd like to say regarding today's service? Okay, just a
Good job,
second.
Tony. Thanks so much for all the confusion. It was good. The humor to add to the confusion was really good too, but very well researched, and we certainly look forward to your next message.
Okay, anyone else? George, did you? Oh, Paula?
It's George up.
Oh, no, you're good. I wasn't sure if I saw George's hand up there or not. So it
Oh, okay.
looks sort of quick. It's sort of like he was at an auction and he just was going to bid and then he decided to pull his card down. So I wasn't sure. So I'm assuming
Okay.
you're not buying anything, George. So go ahead, Paula. If you want to say
Okay.
something later, George,
Yes.
I'll come back to you.
I want to thank Tony. I thought it was really interesting, and I will go back and listen to it on my TV because I couldn't pick up every word, but I did make notes. In my 20s, I taught yoga, studied yoga, and of course, the Hindu religion comes with reincarnation. I decided at that time, keep an open mind, but I really wasn't sure, and I felt I had plenty on my plate without going into that. My friend Yvonne was the head person of yoga in Toronto, and she believed in parallel lives. So what Tony said made a lot of sense to me, because at that time, I really looked at parallel lives. She described it as almost like having a video machine and listening to different videos. And, they all came through from the machine, but the video had different lives or different aspects. And then we went on and we connected with the next one. But they really were all in the same time. So I found that really interesting. The other quick comment I'd like to make was, I think we all have déjà vu. And I had that. And in fact, I took a couple of courses in reincarnation. And again, didn't come to any position, but I did feel that I had brought back traces from either Tibet or China, because I would feel a certain energy when I was in touch with the music and the bells, and it really resonated. And I also felt the same thing with native Indian lives. I took a canoe trip, and first time I got in the canoe, it was for a week. I knew exactly what to do and how to steer the canoe and control it. And as I looked down the front of the water there, I saw the energy there, and it spoke to me. And I've always loved canoeing. So I don't know, I'd say to other people, have you had déjà vu? Are the things that are from maybe another place that come to you with some resonance? That is interesting. And keep an open mind.
Thank you, Paula. Any other comments today?
It looks like Amber.
Amber, go ahead, Amber.
Jack.
Hey,
and Scott.
hopefully I'm not on mute.
Nope, you're good. We can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. Tony, phenomenal. Thank you. I look forward to your topics, and I really look forward to your next speaking engagement. So you've sparked my interest. You've confused the heck out of me, but I absolutely love the analogies. They were very helpful. The analogies that you gave. So well researched. I just love, how do you fit all that in your brain? There's so much there. Anyway, awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Thank you, Amber. Jack, did you have something you wanted to say? And then Scott?
I do. I'm just thinking about the people that we have had in our life, and my sister who just passed away this week. I would love to see her reincarnate so I can maybe meet again, but that's not necessarily how it works. And I think of the little girls or little kids that come in life and bringing out music and songs that they could have never learned, because they talk about singing about Mozart and Beethoven and stuff. They're so small, they couldn't have learned. They must have come from an old soul that came in another life, and now they come back again. That's the example that I would see as a person who maybe reincarnate, and maybe it connects with me, how I have been myself. That I feel that I live in this life of predestination. And if that is connected to the incarnation of other lives, I think I can connect to that part, because I couldn't have thought this smart myself. I must have had some help in this life. So I'm just going through this phase of life, and I even understand that it is possible to reincarnate different times, so you become more in tune with the universal power or with God. If that purifies you in every stage of your life where you go through, it would be inspiring and bring this karma with you, what you have built up over 60 or 80 or 100 years at most. So there must be an extension to the part, our little part of this life over the whole universal world is only a small part when you live 60 or 80 years or something. So I would like to see that there is an extension to it, that we can improve and purify ourselves to be in tune with the universal power.
Thanks, Jack.
Very good.
Scott?
I just want to thank Tony again for that great talk. Again, as everyone says, it was so well researched. I've done a lot of reading myself, and I could agree with a lot of it. It's certainly in my life reincarnation has explained an awful lot of things that seem to make sense because of reincarnation. Also, I agree with Jack. Many of the people that have come into my life and gone out of my life, it's amazing the thread that goes through your life, how you met someone, and how meaningful they became in your life. I also relate to many eras in the world. Egyptology is very big with me, so I probably had an Egyptian life, Victorian England, Elizabethan England. My whole enjoyment of the topic of royalty. Maybe I was a servant or something, who knows? Nonetheless, I'm looking forward also, Tony, to your next talk on how it relates to unity. I'm really thinking that's going to be very interesting. Thanks again, Tony, for a great topic.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, it looks like that's it for today. So whatever life you're living, whether it's your first, your 100th, your 1000th, whatever it is, make the most of it and have a great day, you folks. We'll see you next week. Take care.